Hey guys, this is Rise with Cholera bringing you the losers match of Group 12. If you just watched the winners match with us, you would know that Hyuk has made it on to the next round. Amazingly enough, Hyuk of all people is the first person from this group to move on. I can't believe it. Cholera can't believe it. Can you believe it?
No,
Or
my
believe
head
it?
exploded.
Yeah, he did it though. He did it with style, except for the last 5 seconds of the game where he lost 23 drones to one DT. You know, he couldn't go out without hooking himself a little bit, and he does there. But well played by him. And now we're watching the two losers that we thought were probably the favorites to move on to the next group, Lomo versus Light Alive. So we're gonna have a good TVT match here on Destination. So I'm expecting some good stuff from these two players at this point. They are definitely both hungry, and they definitely want to go to the next round, and we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, both players have been in the scene for a good 2 or 3 years, and they have yet to prove themselves. Even though it's been said a couple of times for both of them that they were, going to be the next big thing in Terran versus Terran, or in Terran in general, rather, not Terran versus Terran. But Lomo here is the top Terran in red, and Light is the yellow Terran at the bottom. So this is Light, of course, the yellow Terran for MBC Hero, and in red is Lomo. Light Alive was in that very long and somewhat confusing game against, I believe it was 4GG, where in the end, did he win or 4GG? I think 4GG won that game. My head is still spinning because they had so few units in the end. So he is a pretty good Terran versus Terran player, and so is Lomo. Looking up the stats, Lomo is, Lomo's only 44% against Terran, and Light, meanwhile, is 47%. So actually, neither of them are amazing. Both of them are hungry, though, I gotta say. They're hungry for some wins and to get into the MSL proper, of course. So they're, fighting for the chance to move on here. Whoever loses will be out of the tournament. So I do expect some hard fighting from both players.
I don't actually know if you said it, but Light Alive is a yellow Terran player and Lomo is the red Terran player. Just want to make sure I reiterate that because it does get confusing in mirror matches, of course. Not going to matter. Both players being Terran, there are no advantages on this map to either player. Although I guess you could argue that one position is better than the other, but it's a pretty well-balanced map. Also want to say that I now am going to predict that Hyuk will be the MSL champion of 2009. That's right. He's going to go on all the way, man. He's going to do it. You just watch.
Yeah, the next
He's going to Hyuk us all.
Yeah. He will hook us all. He will seriously hook everybody. He hooked me already today by winning. Damn it, why do you have to do that? But
awesome.
Looks like both players are going to go for standard openings, racks and gas. The thing is, Hyuk isn't necessarily, he's not hopeless. He's not Zergbong, okay? Zergbong never even gets close to winning. Hyuk gets close to winning and then fails at winning. And in the last game, I'm serious, you saw how close he was to failing at winning.
Oh, yeah.
Had Tempest managed to hold it off somehow, or lost a lot of probes but not everything, he would have been in a great position against Hyuk, who had lost every one of his drones due to not paying attention. Of course, it is hard to pay attention when you're in a big situation or when you're in a big attack. And of course, DTs kill off drones with one hit, so you don't get any warning when your drones are going down. However, other players do not lose 23 drones like Hyuk did. So. Yeah, I gotta say, that situation, for example, like I told you, it's in other games, that situation when he could have killed off Pure's Nexus and didn't, and in that ZVZ, I don't know if you were commentating with me, but when he had Mutalisks up, like 10 minutes before his opponent did, and he still lost the game, because his opponent just built spore colonies and eventually got just an overwhelming mass of Mutas. I don't know if you remember that. Were you casting that with me, Bryce?
Yeah, I did, and he looked like he had the game because his opponent lost pretty much everything. He was going for an all-in Ling build that failed, and Hyuk went all Muto off of one hatchery, and then eventually got a second hatchery. But the other player just went mass spore. I forget who it was off the top of my head, and he ended up winning that. And it was definitely Hyuk's game to lose, and Hyuk proved us right for once, and did lose that game as expected. But anyway, back to this game. We are going to see quick expansions from both players. It looks like Vulture's coming out for Light, and I don't know. It looks like Vulture's coming out for Lomo as well. So it looks like we're going to see a perfect mirror match right off the bat anyway, and we'll have to see what these players go from here. Lomo with an SCV on the right side. I don't know if he's looking to make sure that no vulture harass is coming his way or not, but it looks like he's a little suspicious of something coming from Light. Light, on the other hand, now sending out his vulture. I think that was scouted by the barracks, though, and so Lomo's going to know this is coming, and of course he's going to have a vulture of his own to do the same. And Light now backing off, going elsewhere. Second factory going down for Light. Machine shop as well. Machine shop only already up, though, for Lomo, so I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing some sort of deviation. We only see two SCVs on gas in Lomo's space, so we may see some sort of early starport build, which I've seen a lot when we've only seen two on gas. But I think probably not because the expansion's already out. And Light is going to be able to delay that expansion a little bit.
Wow, I'm surprised that Lomo wasn't in position there to intercept. Looks like SCV Vulture battle. Lomo going to come out ahead here, but he loses that SCV building the command center, has to replace it, and it's going to actually affect his transfer a bit. So Light taking a slight sliver of an advantage, but that's quite important when you're in a mirror match and you've got mirror builds, which is pretty much what we have so far. Both players are probably getting Vulture upgrades right now, is my guess. This map, actually, we've seen a lot of Vulture on Vulture action on TBTs. Basically, it starts off a lot of times with both players going vultures, and mass vultures can actually end the game because it's just very hard to move out if you got vultures, and there's just two bridges to run the vultures through and to get into your main base, so it's not as easy to defend with siege tanks as other maps are. And going siege tanks first is actually quite bad against vultures with the speed and the mines, because you'll lose those precious tanks pretty quickly. So basically it's going to be a vulture fight for a while, I think.
Although, if you ever watch whoever goes Goliaths first, sometimes you'll see someone go Goliaths and he'll tear apart the vultures because they do so little damage.
That's right.
And they'll take out mines like nothing because I think they two-shot mines. So a decent group of them, you know, eventually they'll take out any group of mines that you can set and throw at them, as long as they have some sort of, as long as they're on a move, they'll be okay, as long as they're not just moving into it. Looks like the fourth factory is going up for Light at this point, and I gotta say, Light actually seems to be ahead in his factory production and has been since the start, at least ahead by one factory, and now he's continuing to do that. And I don't know what it is from Lomo. Maybe it's a variation in the build. Right now it does not look like that, although he does have a tank coming out, so maybe there is a little bit of a variation coming in the builds at this point, and we'll have to see who is more successful, mass vultures or vultures plus tanks from Lomo. Who's going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be about whether Light has mines researching right now. I didn't see anything spinning, actually, at his machine shop, so maybe he doesn't have a second upgrade, which would be bad for him, because tanks obviously eat up unupgraded vultures. They do almost nothing against tanks. So we might see a little bit more pressure coming from Lomo here against Light, who is on the bottom once again, in case you guys are still confused about the colors, which is possible, certainly. And the 5 facts up now. It's, the machine shop is spinning again for Light. Oh, Light killing the Panda Bear guy! Whoa, what was that, Light? Yeah, Tasteless would be going crazy right now. Only 4 factories up for Lomo, so Lomo looks like he's gonna just probably focus more on tanks, but Light definitely has a superior number of vultures, but he doesn't have any mines right now, I think.
No, he doesn't. We would certainly see the box on the vultures if they did, with how many mines they have left, which definitely gives the advantage to Lomo, because Lomo's got 3 tanks out now, and if he were to push forward, Light would be in a lot of trouble, I think, without mines. I think there's not much he can do against vultures plus tanks with, I don't know what he's thinking, just going straight vultures, to be honest, because it just doesn't make sense, unless he can pull off some sort of run-by, which I don't think is going to be the case. And there are the mines, so now we see mines popping out, and he's going to send vultures in straight away to deal with that. I'm pretty sure I saw an academy going down in Lomo's base, so Lomo is going to be able to scan these and take care of those tanks, which is going to make it very difficult for those vultures to get around them with mines, especially with other vultures blocking. But now 5 factories for Light, and Light is going for a complete run-by here, but this is going to be scouted by Lomo. Lomo's going to be able to head back, but those tanks aren't going to be able to move back because of all the spider mines, and now maybe Light is going to take a little bit of an advantage here, because he does outnumber Lomo with vultures versus vultures, and this is going to be tough for Lomo to deal with.
Yeah, Lomo, I don't know why he wasn't moving his tanks back. He can't hold that position anymore. He's got 3 tanks there idling around, and this could be really bad for him. He's got 1 tank in siege position. Now Light has his own tanks. So Lomo needs to play really carefully. He's in a situation to get pincered very easily by Light. Light has cut off his line of retreat and his line of reinforcement. So this little force here is basically stranded until until Lomo manages to push out and get some scans and get rid of that huge minefield. And here he's trying to engage with his vultures, but he engages them piecemeal. So Lomo making some mistakes here, and Light finally disengages, but he's taken out a lot of vultures with his own vultures. And he still has a ton of mines in between Lomo's base and that forward position, which is going to be really bad for Lomo because Light's going to accumulate a large enough army and just roll over it as we're seeing right now.
Yeah, now he is heading in. He's doing a lot of damage against those naked siege tanks that had no vulture protection right there. He keeps all of his own tanks, and now Lomo has lost a lot of units to Light, and Light is getting his 6th factory up, and I believe Lomo is still on 4, 3 of which have machine shops, so it looks like we're about to see a big tech switch to mass tanks from Light, or mass tanks and mass vultures still, because he's got 3 unmachine shopped, and wow, and there is the 5th one finally going up for Lomo, and I can't believe how far behind Lomo's been this entire game on factory production, and this ultimately might cost him the game. And Light is moving up all over the map. He is going around the left side, around the right side. He's got mines in the middle. He's got perfect scouts all over the place because Lomo can't just scan everywhere to take out all those mines. Lomo started the retreat, though, and a lot of mines going down. That's actually going to stop Light from moving that way with just tanks. He's going to have to start scanning. If he's got scan of his own, he's got a lot of tanks. He's going to send out 1 tank, though, to try to start pulling those mines back and do a better job of clearing it out, because I don't know if he has scan. No, scan does go down, so he does have scan. He's going to take care of it. Tank go down for Lomo. Lomo taking out 1 tank. It looks like Light's going to exchange tank for tank here, as well as vulture for vulture, but Light ultimately coming out a little bit ahead here with 5 or 6 tanks still up in that area, as well as vultures, and that's going to be tough for Lomo to overcome if Light can get back there and start sieging that natural expansion.
Yeah, that's a beautiful spot that you want as a Terran player. They just love that spot, and they're going to try to abuse it as much as possible. Light looks like he's slowly managing to push Lomo back. Lomo actually, has 3 tanks still. Those 3 tanks, 2 tanks now, are not going to be able to defend, I think, once Light sends more forces over there. He's already got 3 tanks and a bunch of vultures moving through. Vultures taking the first hit from the sieged up tanks, and now they're mining the tanks. And this is where vultures become so critical. Oh, just look at that beautiful mine job there from Light, putting the mines next to the tanks. Oh, nice. Lomo kills off a tank of Light's, but Lomo needs to hold his position. He knows how critical it is. Meanwhile, Light's got a starport going up, so maybe thinking about some drops or possibly just a couple of harassing raids. But, right now, this entire game has been controlled by Light, and Lomo has not had a chance to do any kind of harassment. He's been losing forces consistently, and it looks like it's getting out of hand. I mean, someone get this kid some Dentine Ice or something. Someone get him a big pack of that baseball gum, and he'll be fine. But the bubblegum Terran needs his bubblegum, and he's just getting hooked without it. Yeah,
Big League Chew. That is the good stuff, of course, the Big League Chew. That's what every kid wants in their life. And looks like Lomo trying to defend this desperately, but with those spider mines there, he's going to have a lot of trouble, although Lomo with a decent static defense around the ramps. Of course, if you look at the map, though, a lot more yellow pushing up very far into enemy territory right there, and Lomo having a very difficult time defending all this. And now that left expansion is up, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it. Lomo finally has his 6 factories up. I'd like to see how many Light has at this point. There are going to be raids coming out, and as well as a science facility. I wonder if we're going to see just upgrades coming from him or some sort of battlecruiser build, which would be awesome, but I highly doubt we're going to see that. Looks like Light is going to push into the middle at this point. He's got his tanks and vultures, and he's just going to do as much damage to them as he can, which is going to be a lot, although Lomo probably just delaying for his tanks to get in position himself. But Light completely outnumbering his tanks right now, and I don't think there's much Lomo's going to be able to do, especially with those raids to harass. They're going to push back those tanks or make them switch into start making some Goliaths, which is going to slow them down even more and put Light even more ahead in the end.
Yeah, Light also taking out the racks and pushing forward steadily here. Lomo just fighting a retreat. I think strategically he made an error in the beginning. He shouldn't have moved out to the center of the map the way he did with just inferior vultures. I think it was basically a bad decision to go for tanks first. And oh, look at this! Oh man, Lomo just getting eaten up here by the mines. Beautiful mine drag there, mine play from Light. And like I said, he just I think he's transitioned to tanks too soon, and he pushed out too soon. Meanwhile, Lomo clearing up the right side, so Light no longer has a position there. But those two rates are going to start picking away at those tanks, and they're eventually going to get that tank, and they're going to get a lot of other ones. Racks going up, and an armory finally going up for Lomo. But for a while, he is going to be completely defenseless against rates. And you know, this is just very annoying for him, and of course, he is going to suffer a lot of damage to his tank count. And you know, I think it's just compounding the early misjudgment there, and you know, I don't know how he can come back. And the one thing he's got going for him is that he got his left side expansion a little bit before Light did, but Light also has picked up a 4th base now on the left.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for Lomo to come back from. Lomo trying to get his own 4th expansion, but I don't think it's going to work in his favor. Look at the tanks moving over there right away. Lomo out of position, not going to be able to deal with it. Light see this with the Rays, obviously, and these Rays are going to slowly or continue.
4 kills on the
continue. Yeah, they're just going to continue to pick apart these tanks with no Goliath or anti-air support. And there's not much that he's going to be able to do. The Goliath's finally coming out, though, so he's going to be able to deal with the Rays. Light going to back off, and now he can just use those as spotting Rays, of course. And this may force a tech switch again from Light, but we'll have to see what he ends up doing here. I think that he is ahead, though. And is that actually, does Lomo already have his 4th expansion up? So maybe Lomo
he does.
Not as hurt as I thought he is. He was actually looking at having a 5th expansion then. So although he's been behind in factories all game, it seems like he has been a little bit ahead or even. But oh, he's going to lose that critical refinery right there. In TVT, gas is king, and that's going to be very difficult for Lomo to come back from, just losing that one gas.
Yeah, Lomo trying to compensate here by getting the extra expansions, but Light is giving no quarter here. You know, just continuously pressuring Lomo. He's going to pick off the SCVs on the left side and force them to lift. And you know, these rates are definitely worth it. We saw a Wraith with 4 kills and one with 1 kill, so that means 5 tanks killed by the Wraiths. Previously, when we were talking, now they're killing SCVs. They're killing everything basically. And Lomo is locked out of his gas on the right side because of Light's minefield and his tanks up there. And now Lomo has to just barely fight to keep this left side base. Looks like Light's going to try to bring some tanks, 3 tanks getting through the minefield, and now they're going to start sieging the left side.
Yeah, it's got to be mentioned that Light is winning the upgrade game as well, and he's got +1 weapons where Lomo does not have any upgrades at this point anyway. Obviously, just getting that armory.
Yeah,
up.
you're right. You're right.
And so now it looks like Lomo going to try to clear out this right side expansion, or sorry, the sieging on his expansion at the right side, and taking out all but 1 tank, which he'll certainly take out with those 3, but he's going to lose the one on the left, and a dropship out for Light as well. So now dropship, oh my god, look at those Rays. How many kills is that? 8?
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, Lomo is just out of the game. These 4 vultures are going to kill every SCV, pretty much, because Lomo just is having to throw all of his units forward and Light attacking on so many fronts. Another SCV going to the left side and harassing those. So Lomo is just basically getting picked to pieces here slowly. Interesting enough, Light decided, you know, I like his strategy. He didn't go for any finishing blows where he could have lost his own army. Instead, this entire game, he's been just picking at Lomo, picking. And now, you know, he's picked him apart pretty much. A death of 1,000 cuts. That's really what Light has done to him. Picking off the tanks, now picking off SCVs, using the vultures. And, you know, pretty soon he will go for the finishing blow, or Lomo will GG.
Yeah, I think that's about all Lomo can do at this point. He's going to do his best to take out some tanks in the middle. Not going to really do much damage, though, in the end. And one thing I do got to say is this game has been very exciting from start to finish, as have all the games been in this series so far. So thanks to these players for at least entertaining us thoroughly throughout this entire set. And I think that we're going to be very shortly moving on to see Light in the final match, the grand final against Tempest, which should, of course, be a very exciting game because it's a rematch after Light lost, of course, and GG.
GG coming from Lomo. Light is gonna have a tough game ahead of him though, because he saw how good Tempest single Dragoon micro was, and the metagame's got to be a little bit scary for him because he lost despite having a huge advantage in game 1. Anyway, moving on to the final game. Thanks for watching.